Hi everyone. So I've just got Elite Dangerous Horizons working with head tracking via the gyroscope on my Nexus 5 and using Moonlight video streaming through my AC rated router to my Nexus 5 on 5 GHz bandwidth. And I know some people have been having problems getting this set up since the update to Elite Dangerous Horizons. So I thought I'd run through exactly how I've made this work. So there's a few pieces of software you're going to require. The first of which is the software which brings everything together, which is a program called Trinus VR. You can just see that here. That's the spelling. This is its logo. So there's an app available for your Android phone and a desktop app which you pair together over the Wi-Fi network in your home. So the first thing you'll need to do is download both of those. The second piece of software you require is an app for the phone called Moonlight. It was previously known as Limelight, but if you search Moonlight, all one word, that is available on the Android store. Now, this whole method relies, to get good video quality, relies on you having an NVIDIA graphics card. Unfortunately, I don't know how it would work with an AMD card. I believe there are ways, but I've not researched into them. So what it basically does, this Moonlight program, is allows you to use the same technology that NVIDIA employ for streaming to their Shield portable devices. So you open up the Geforce Experience, go to the Shield tab here. Sorry, I'll just slightly adjust so you can see that. Go to the Shield tab here, and then you'll need to sign up for an NVIDIA account. Just takes 2 seconds, free to do, so just get that done. And then you basically open up the Moonlight app on your phone, and it will, as long as your PC and the phone are connected to the same network, it will find the PC on the network and put a desktop icon on the phone. I'll just load that up on my phone now just to show you what that looks like. So it'll present you with a screen which looks something like this, and just focus there. There you go. So that's representing my desktop. Now if I click that now, they're already paired together, and the video streaming will start and give me, well, I'll show you what happens. Click on that. It gives me a list of all the apps which are eligible for streaming to the phone, or I can load Steam as well and choose any of my Steam games. Now, before you'll be able to do that, what will happen is it will present you with this screen. You will click this button to link to your desktop, and it will display a PIN code on the screen, and a pop-up box will appear on your main monitor. You input the PIN code to the pop-up box on the monitor, and that pairs the devices together. So once you've done that, the Moonlight streaming is essentially set up. So that's fairly straightforward. Now, if we go to the Trinus VR program, this is what you will have on your desktop. Let me just load that. And this is what you'll have on your phone screen. So now I've automatically switched it to advanced mode. I'll just quickly show you how to do that. So that's what will happen when you first load Trinus VR up. You'll get this screen here. You want to click on this cogs icon here, and then click on the advanced button at the bottom, and then you'll get the full range of options. So what we're going to do here is basically go to network here, and now you need to ensure that the ports listed for video port and sensors port are open on both your router and in your Windows firewall. Look online if you don't know how to open a port in Windows 10. It's pretty straightforward. Open Windows firewall, then you go to like an advanced panel and just like put an exception in. There's guides on the internet for that. And then also you're going to want to ensure that the IP address here is the same as the IP address on your Android device here. Now this is the IP address assigned to your Android device from your home network. So basically, once we put them both together, then it will basically understand that this device is client started, and as soon as I click this button here in the corner, the devices will pair together. But before we do that, we need to set up the options in Trinus VR. So I'll do that now. Now, Trinus VR has its own inbuilt video streaming and also its own inbuilt tracking methods as well. And these are listed here. This is your streaming options, and these are your sensor options. Now, unfortunately, the video quality in streaming with its inbuilt decoders is not particularly great. So it can send the basically the instruction to Moonlight to use that service to do the video streaming. So the option we want is Moonlight here, and then you should technically be able to use FreeTrack. Now, there's been a couple of issues since the release of Horizons, which is switched to 64-bit code. The build at the release of Horizons didn't support 64-bit DLL files within the download package, so that caused people to not be able to get Headlook to work. Now, there was a solution in that if you downloaded FreeTrack No IR or HeadTrack No IR, I can't quite remember the name of the program, then you could take a couple of DLL files from the install and drop them into the ext folder of Trinus VR. Anyway, that's a bit of a non-issue, or it will be probably by the time you see this video, because the developer of Trinus VR, Xavier, has already told me he's integrating them into the next build. I've been in direct contact. Unfortunately, there's still a bug in the game, which means that you don't get proper tracking. I'll just display a video on the screen to show you what that bug is, and this is the reason why we don't select the free track option, and I'll show you the method to fix this. So this is what you would see if you use the free track option and not technically set it all up correctly, but you would get this effect. Sorry, wrong video, this video. Nope, this one. So it'd be this effect here. Nope, it's this effect here. Here we go. There you go. You get that effect there, but you can see the tracking is working, but it's bugged, and it's like every second frame doesn't track correctly, and so you just get this flickering effect. So that's what we're going to solve now. So instead of selecting free track in the menu here, instead we're going to select Opentrack Redirect. Now, the next piece of software you need to download is a piece of software called Opentrack, which you can get online. Just search for it. The version I'm using is 2.3, release candidate 21p6. So basically, when you open that, you get this little program here, which I'll just put to the side. Now, this is pretty straightforward. What you need to do is go into, I will just leave this here for now. You also need to download a piece of software which comes with the free track install, and get that onto your phone and install it, an app. It isn't available on the App Store. So the first thing you're going to need to do to install that is go into your settings on your phone, go to security, and then ensure unknown sources is enabled, so it will allow you to install the app. And then you need to get the app installed on your phone, which I've already put it onto the phone. And then you also need to download an app called APK Installer, which will allow you to install the app. So this app you want to find on your desktop will be located in the install directory of Opentrack. So I'm just browsing there, and then it's in a folder called Contrib, and then it's FreePy UDI, and there's your APK folder file there. You need to copy that over onto your Android phone and then install it using this APK installer here. So for example, if I click that, then that's it listed here. I can select that and install selected. I've already done it for the purposes of this phone, but that's basically what you need to do. So once that is installed, you will have a small program on your phone called FreePy IMU. This is basically going to relate the gyroscope information that your phone gets through to this Opentrack program on the PC. So let's look about how we do that. This IP address here is the IP address of my main PC, and this is the port on which it's going to transport the information through which it will transport the information. So if we go to the Opentrack dialog box, you will want to select FreePy UDP. Sorry, the ports need to be open on UDP, and you want to select FreeTrack 2.0 Enhanced for the protocol, and the filter, which should already be there, is Accela. Now, there's a few options you need to change, but instead of going through all those, I'm going to provide my setup of the INI file, which will make this work fairly well with Elite. Now, you can change things, tweak how the head movement works using mapping these graphs here. Yeah, you need to have a play about with that, but I will provide you my current setup file, which is here, which I've named Elite VR, and then my name. So I'll provide a link to that file, and then basically to load it, you'll just go to Profile here, open configuration directory, select where, well, you basically drop that file into this directory, and then select it through this pull-down menu here. So once that's done, let's look back on the phone. You will have the IP address, target port, send information, orientation, send raw data, fastest, no delay, and then enable. Okay, so that's that done. And then if we go back to the PC, then you will click the start button here, and then you'll know it's working because the little octopus symbol will start spinning around. So I have basically you have like a centralized key, which I've set if you use my INI file as numpad enter, the number pad enter on the keyboard, not the main enter key, the one in the bottom right corner. So that's recentered it. Then if I turn my phone now, then I'm getting that information translated. Now, for some reason, the octopus isn't moving up and down. What was that? Maybe it's because my phone was orientated that way when I enabled. Oh, who knows? Regardless, this setup works in Elite Dangerous. So, and it was mostly through trial and error I got this to work. So don't ask me any questions. There's basically some issues with inverting certain settings and whatever. And it was just trial and error that I got it to work successfully. I'm just going to stop that for now. So what's going to happen then? So we've got Moonlight enabled, Opentrack redirect enabled, and this is just like a thing for my headset. I don't think it actually has any bearing with the settings that I'm using actually. There's one final piece to the puzzle you need to put into the install directory of Elite Dangerous. I'll just show you where that goes. So it'll be into the install folder. Sorry, I've got a few versions of it installed for VR options and non-VR options. For the VR option, it's within my Steam directory. So go to where it's installed, which is Steam Apps Common, Elite Dangerous Horizons, Products, Elite Dangerous 64 folder, and then these files need adding, which I will also provide a download link. There's the Reshade folder, the DXGI DLL, DXGI log, and this last one, Reshade.fx. What this will basically do is we'll warp the ratio and edges of the image so that the lens, the side-by-side mode, isn't distorted when you're looking through the goggles. Basically, if you don't apply this, you have to apply a resolution fix, which ensures that planets don't look like ovals when displayed through VR side-by-side mode in the game. So I'll provide a download link for those files, and that's where to go, basically under the Elite Dangerous Horizons Products Elite Dangerous 64 folder. Somebody, I should probably give a credit for who's created those, but unfortunately I don't have it. It is on the Elite Dangerous forum link, and I'll try and provide reference for who put those together. So thank you, whoever that was. With all that done, I'm now going to show you what happens when we start the process. So, as you can see, the FreePi thing, it's my little boy, you can see there. The FreePi thing is still running on the phone. So that's sending the gyro information to show you that it's on, basically. I did turn it off on the PC, so I will now re-enable that. I'll just center that on the screen so you can see it a bit better. I'm going to click the start button there. Okay, so that's all working again. And now I'm going to minimize that on my phone and fire up Trinus VR. So it's now ready and waiting to accept a connection on the phone. It's gone purple, the triangle. I click the same button on here, just double check my settings. Yep, IP address ports are fine. Moonlight, yep, that's all correct. So as soon as I click that, it fires up the Moonlight app. And here we go, I've got streaming. As soon as I click this, it'll start streaming from my desktop to my phone. There you go. And then I'm going to click Steam because I'm using the Steam version of Elite. There is a way to get a non-Steam version of Elite displayed in that list of games you can activate. I will actually just quickly exit this and show you how that works in case you've got a non-Steam version of Elite. So another good reason is you'll see that the latency there is 11 milliseconds. That's another good reason to use a Nexus 5. It's a lot better than some other devices. It's about as low latency as you get with this method. So if you've got a Steam version of the game, it won't automatically display in that list of games. So you have to manually add it. So if you go to open up back on the main screen, you open up a Geforce Experience again, go to the Preference tab, and then you can go to the shield over here on the left, and then click this Add button, and then you can browse for the Elite Dangerous launcher, I assume, probably the ED Launch EXE you're after. 100% on that might be the under the products thing, but I'm pretty sure it was the ED Launch EXE. Okay, so that's that. I'll fire it back up again. So just need to cancel that and restart the process. back to where we were. Okay, let's fire that up. Back into Moonlight. Here we go. Now, as soon as you launch Moonlight and then click Steam, it'll fire up Steam Big Picture mode. Obviously, it's expected if you're using this kind of setup, you're probably sat on a couch away from the screen. So, we select, like you can see, streaming, nice minimum lag. Select library. And obviously, you can select whichever game you want within Steam. But for purposes of this demo, we're using Elite Dangerous. So, by the way, you can browse this on with your finger on your phone if you want, and then just like tap when to select. I'm just doing it with the mouse, it's easier for the video. Click play. Now, the only difference between these two options here is I can tell that basically just flies through the splash screen and launches the game directly. This brings up the splash screen and you have to click play, so I guess that's the only reason. So it'd be hard to do that if you're on a VR headset, so just click that, one less button to press basically. The splash screen will still appear, but then it will immediately go into the game. Look, there's no play button, it just goes straight in. That is basically the setup, but I'll just prove that it works as well. So I'll wait for it all to kick in, show it working. By the way, you'll get all this text appearing, and then all this. This is basically the shader effects thing, setting up the resolution modifications for the side-by-side mode, which I've already set in Elite. Actually, I'll just quickly try and show you those settings for the purposes of the video, which is, the text will be a bit weird, so apologies about that. Because it's already, as you can see, look, it's like a warped version of the menu, so it works with VR goggles. That's the shader effects kicking in. Not sure it's going to focus in on this. No, okay, I'll try and do it through the main screen. Okay, hopefully that's legible. So you go to Options, Graphics, and what I've got a fairly beefy setup. I've got a 4.3 gigahertz overclocked i5, Ivy Bridge, and GTX 970 GPU. So one thing I have noticed, and I know Trinus VR tends to recommend you running windowed mode. That causes problems when using these modified shaders. So make sure you're running in full screen mode with a resolution of Full HD 1920 by 1080. Oh, by the way, the resolution should never exceed that of your phone. Otherwise, it's going to cause performance drops. I have the refresh rate set at 60 on my monitor, vertical sync on, and frame rate limit of 60 Hz as well, 60 frames per second. Fields of view, I'm not quite sure what this does basically, and these two sliders can affect how it looks on your heads-up display for alignment of the images, so you don't get kind of like slight offset, basically to make it focus properly. But basically the main one is this: you need to switch the 3D to side-by-side mode. Now, because the resolution is halved full HD, text can become quite illegible in the game. So my preference is to use FXAA as the anti-aliasing option and set the super sampling to 1.5, so you get like slightly smoother text. I'm able to do that with my graphics card. If you've got a lesser graphics card, you might struggle with that and might want to turn that off. It's not massive differences, it's just, if you can, it's nice to have. It's optional, I guess. So I'm just going to cancel out of that. Something else to point out as well, in the Trinus VR settings, under the video tab, there's an option to set a maximum frame rate limit, and I've done that at 60. And I've also gone into the Moonlight options, and you can set your video streaming preference, and you can select like 720p 30 frames per second, 720p 60 frames per second, bloody. So I've got mine at 180p 60 frames per second, which is obviously matching the settings I'm setting up everywhere else in Trinus VR and also in Elite Dangerous's options as well. With that said, you'll probably need a fairly beefy Wi-Fi connection to get that. It seems that Moonlight recommends 20 megabits per second bandwidth over your local network between your phone and your router to be able to achieve that kind of quality. If you're struggling, you can obviously turn it down to 720p or reduce the frames per second, which lowers the bandwidth considerably to 10 megabits per second or even 5 megabits per second if you use 720p and 30 frames per second. But obviously that reduces the visual quality of the experience. So with that said, I'm going to load the game, show you it running. Sorry, I should pull that out so you can see I'm getting 60 frames per second there. So I'll just go into training and fire up one of the basic missions. So there you go, it's still streaming on my phone. Obviously this would typically be mounted into a heads-up display. Head-mounted display, should I say. Okay. Right, for some reason the tracking's not working. Ah, there we go. Just needed resetting. So there we go. Can look down, can look up, you can look side to side. Perfect. And that will bring up your menus. Jobs are good. Now I'm not quite sure what frames per second I'm achieving on the phone, but it's running at 60 frames per second on the PC. So basically, I think the only limitation is the speed of your wireless connection as to how this is going to run. Try and focus that in so you can try and get a better understanding of the image quality with a bit of float. There you go. So I'll try and hold that there and try and move the chip around. Get a good understanding of the frames per second. I would say, I mean, the video is limited that I'm actually recording as well, but I'd say on my phone I'm getting definitely above 30, maybe 40 to 50 frames per second I would estimate there. Probably 50. Looking very, very smooth, to be honest. Okay, hope that's helped some people.